Hello to everybody, our dear subscribers. FutureTrend channel is again with you, and today is 14th of December 2018. We start our analysis. Today we will try to cover a commodity block of currencies. Why we decided to do so? That's because of a real kind of stability we have in the major pairs. Among them, euro-dollar, for example, despite of yesterday's European Central Bank meeting, is quite stable at the moment. The same applies probably for the dollar Swiss. Yesterday we have Swiss National Bank rate decision and meeting and press conference. Anyway, this kind of event was absolutely non-event. And in such kind of environment, also taking into account that even cable, even British pound is rather stable as a result of yesterday's session, and now probably the market is an environment of pause, of some stability, probably associated with nearing Christmas celebrations. Liquidity is quite low, big players out of market, and probably the market is expecting next week central bank decision from the United States Federal Reserve Bank. This, of course, the Federal Reserve Bank is a driving force at the moment, because it's a unique bank in the world among the developed kind of nations that still continues its path of raising its interest rate. Comparing to other developed nations, it's quite not abnormal, but quite different. And in such kind of environment, of course, it's not a surprise to see that United States dollar is the main beneficiary as a result of 2018, plus 5.3% against their so-called block of currencies of J6 against another 6 major currencies. The dollar gained 5.3% on balance of 2018. So, as regarding today, we decided to concentrate your attention on the commodity block of currencies, and here that's because of, first of all, we have some news from New Zealand, and second, we have weaker economic data coming from China. Industrial production as well as retail sales numbers in China was quite dim, quite tepid, and in such kind of environment, it's not a surprise to see weaker price of Australian dollar. Let's see the chart of Australian dollar. It's trading around 71.91. It's probably the lows of today, and not far from yesterday's highs around 72.46. Anyway, in case of dipping below 71.50, the pair could further develop its downtrend potential, its downtrend pattern, down move pattern. As regarding New Zealand dollar, at 67.97 now, that's because of Central Bank of New Zealand decision to double the so-called capital of New Zealander commercial banks, and of course it's from one point of view it's a sign of stability in a sign of stability for the financial system of the New Zealand, but from a point of view of today, it's a temporary negative factor for the New Zealand dollar. And that's not a surprise to see New Zealand dollar weaker, and in case of dipping below 67.50, where by the way lies our stop loss on existing average short, average long, now average price is 68.50. We double our position as promised at the level of 68 and put a stop below 67.50. The same applies, by the way, for the Australian dollar. Let's see the chart of Australian dollar. We have a stop loss on our existing long position below 71.50. As regarding Canada, another commodity currency which is very close, has a kind of close ties with the oil price. Here we have a clear uptrend, and while above 32.30 on a closing basis, the Canadian dollar should further develop its upside trend, let's say so. And in such kind of environment, let's see, for example, a longer term picture, daily one. We see that starting from September 2017, dollar Canada, despite of its let's say, despite of the current stance, monetary stance of the Bank of Canada, you know, the Bank of Canada is in process of raising its benchmark interest rate. Despite of that, we see that dollar Canada is in its uptrend, and even ready to renew the highs of this year. We should be ready for the final impulse higher for the dollar Canada in 2018, before probably the pair will enter more stable situation at the beginning of 2019. Anyway, next week a central bank decision from the United States probably could have more pronounced impact on the currencies, on the financial markets as before, comparing to the later ones. And some words about the Russian ruble. Central Bank of Russia has its regular meeting today. Also, Russian ruble is quite stable, is looking quite stable at the moment. From a point of view of longer term speaking, longer term move, we have a kind of uptrend line around current level, and final break below 66 probably will open the way to test pivotal support area at 64.80-65. The same applies, by the way, for the euro ruble. Also here we have a kind of pivotal support area around 74 level, and we still consider that from a longer term point of view, Russian ruble still remains quite undervalued type of currency. Thank you very much, our dear subscribers, for all of your attentions, for all of your suggestions and recommendations for our channel. We wish you a pleasant end of this week and nice weekend for all of you. Take care and bye bye for now.